Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today's topic is going to be, why do I still hurt if I've done the emotional work? Common question. A lot of people wonder that. So, take a couple of nice deep breaths. Exhale the crap. Breathe in something good. All right, so keep on breathing. Relax your body so that the breath comes naturally. So why am I still hurting if I've done the emotional work? So if you've studied Sarno, read any of his books, he talks about repressed emotions as the reason for the pain. The brain's distracting us from these repressed emotions. My interpretation of that is that the brain perceived those emotions as dangerous, and therefore it created symptoms as a way to protect us. I like the word protect better than distract. From those emotions. As a result of Sarno's position on the cause of the pain, there's been decades and decades of people doing emotional work, going to therapy, doing journaling, doing trauma work, doing tapping to release emotions, doing any number of different things to get at the root cause, which Sarno says is these repressed emotions. Well, if they're repressed, how do we access them? And if we look at it from a higher level, I believe Sarno's right. I believe that the brain can perceive our emotional state as dangerous and therefore is protecting us by diverting our attention with something physical like pain. So if that's the root cause, that the brain is trying to protect us from something dangerous, the shortest solution is not going to therapy for 20 years and working with trauma specialists and digging up everything that ever happened to you from the time you can remember until now. I think the shortest way to teach the brain that, to turn off this process, this protection mechanism, is to teach the brain that emotions are safe. The best way to do that is exposure therapy to emotions. Not digging up the old stuff, the horrible stuff, because I've met plenty of people who said the emotional work just made me worse. Because they went back and they started tearing into all of the horrible things that have happened to them over their lifetimes because they were told to, and they didn't really know how to frame it to say, well, my goal is to teach myself that they're safe. I don't think we need to do any of that stuff. And I know there's going to be plenty of people in the mind-body TMS world that will vehemently disagree with me. And how dare I go against Sarno? It's just where I'm at. So if you disagree, feel free to work with another TMS coach or specialist who thinks we need to go dig up the past. For me, I think it's more important, much more important, to focus on the right now emotions. The right now emotions. And I don't believe it's even a matter of digging up. We don't have to go looking for emotions, because if we are getting emotional, if we're paying attention, we're generally going to notice. If I'm getting aggravated and upset, I'm generally going to notice. I'm pissed off for whatever reason. Or I'm feeling sad. Oh, can't believe it, right? We're going to notice it. So if we want to convince the brain to stop this strategy of sending out pain signals, then we need to be able to allow ourselves to feel these symptoms, or feel these emotions, We'll want to feel the emotions without judgment, without considering ourselves broken, weak, damaged, crazy, out of control, any of that stuff. We want to feel the emotions without judgment. And if we don't want feeling the emotions to last all day, all week, all month, then I suggest we drop the story mode, which is basically rumination. Really important. Feel the emotions without judgment, and you can let go of the story. We don't have to stay ruminating on the story over and over and over again. Especially if you're feeling the same emotion from the same situation over and over again. You're probably stuck in story mode. So why are you not better yet if you've done the emotional work and you've done the trauma work, the therapy, the journaling, and all that stuff? Because frankly, I believe it goes way beyond just emotions as dangers, right? For many people, the pain started. And for many of us, we can look back and say, yep, very emotionally chaotic time of my life. Makes sense. Sarno's theory makes sense. Got it. But after that, many of us get medicalized, meaning traumatized by the medical system. We start pursuing a cure with doctors and therapists and massage and chiropractic and injections and surgeries and other treatments and medications. And when none of that stuff actually provides a useful solution, we're traumatized by that. And along the way of that medicalization, we're told all sorts of things that may be really having a horrible nocebo effect. Oh yeah, you've got this and that in your spine, and probably want to get used to this because I don't see you getting out of pain ever. And we hear all sorts of crazy stuff. We're given diagnoses that you look on Google and holy crap, there's no cure to this thing. Oh no. So now all of a sudden, the pain itself becomes the perceived danger. And it may have, nothing to do anymore with the emotional chaos that happened at the time it started. Now, I also heard Schubner and Gordon and a couple other people running a study that not everybody had an emotional start to their symptoms. There's plenty of people who had a true injury. They were so freaked out about how much it hurt, or even a surgery. They were so freaked out that it got botched when it didn't. The body healed, but yet the pain kept going because they taught the brain to keep the pain going because they gave it so much fear and attention, and the brain said, this is important. There's something dangerous here. The knee surgery didn't heal, so we got to keep the pain going to protect them, right? And all this leads into my, explanation of this cause of chronic pain, which is perceived danger, right? So if you've done all the emotional work and you feel like you're extremely in touch with all that stuff, and you can feel emotions without judging yourself and without, losing it and going into a panic emotionally, you've probably done an acceptable job of teaching your brain that emotions are safe. Great. So what else are you perceiving as dangerous? Consciously, or just as important, if not more so, subconsciously. For me, the emotional chaos kind of took care of itself, but then I became afraid of bending over, standing for too long, sitting for too long, getting up after sitting, laying on my back for any length of time. And, right, I just had all of these other new perceived dangers that kept it going for, in my case, 13 years. And so, why do you still hurt if you've already done the emotional work? Because you haven't convinced the brain that you're safe in all the ways that the brain is currently perceiving danger. So I think it's important to teach the brain that we're safe emotionally, feel your right now emotions, teach the brain you're safe physically by having a relaxed body, breathing comfortably more often instead of tense, tight, walking like a robot because it hurts so much, right? This doesn't really seem safe, but a nice relaxed body, nice and loose, fluid, that is safe. So those are two of the three. And then mentally, how do you feel safe mentally? Well, we're all going to have negative thoughts. We don't have to stop them. We don't have to fix our negative thoughts. But we also don't have to take them seriously or believe them or act upon them. That's how we can feel safer mentally, excuse me. So, how else do we teach the brain we're safe? By choosing a response to our symptoms or pains that doesn't confirm the brain's perception of danger. So if the brain is kicking out some pretty strong sensations or symptoms or pains, and we're like, okay, I know what's going on. I know it's perceived danger. I know there's nothing actually wrong with me. If you can continually, persistently, consistently respond to the symptoms with lack of concern, or at minimum, the ability to calmly reassure yourself instead of freaking out and panicking, the brain has no choice but to start to settle down because, hey, you're not concerned with the symptoms. You're not reading Wikipedia and WebMD for 6 hours a day. You're not listening to 42 podcasts on how to heal chronic pain anymore. You're starting to shift your attention to engaging in life, connecting with other people, starting to think about your future, and not a bad one, but a good one. Overall, all of this stuff works together. It's not just one thing. It's not just emotions. Emotions may be part of it. If you haven't done any emotional discovery, start with the right now stuff. Teach your brain that your emotions are safe and you're perfectly cool feeling the right now stuff. In my opinion, that's all we need to do emotionally. The brain will get the hint. Move on to the body. Relax it so you can comfortably breathe. Make that your default. If you're tight and tense, just notice it. Relax it. Mentally, you don't have to fix your negative thinking with more thinking about your negative thinking, right? Just don't take those negative thoughts seriously. Don't follow them into the rabbit hole of fear. If your thoughts are making you feel worse, generally those are the ones you probably just want to let go and not ruminate on. Choose your response, engage in life, and if all you've done is, dredge up the worst of the worst past experiences on paper or in therapy or in trauma work, and you're not better yet, it's because your brain is not feeling safe yet, emotionally, physically, or mentally yet. It's important. Safety is the solution. So if you're still not better and you've toiled over the emotions, maybe you've done that enough. Maybe it's time to focus on creating safety, mentally, physically, emotionally. Start living your life. Be less concerned with the symptoms. Why? Because you got the foundation built, which says there's not a darn thing wrong with me. Hope that makes sense. So, love you guys and gals. That's my take on why sometimes the emotional work doesn't get the job done. Sometimes it does. But I can't tell you how many people come to me and say, Dan, I've been doing the emotional stuff for years. Still not better. How come? Well, because they're afraid of their bodies. Their brain is still perceiving danger and therefore keeping the alarm system going. That's it. It's not any more complicated. It's not that you missed the one repressed emotion from 5th grade. It has nothing to do with that, in my opinion. It's that right now your brain is still perceiving danger. Make sense? All right, folks. Love you. I'm going to wrap this one up. It's Friday night when I'm shooting this. And we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.